Hey, this is Chris from Pixelwix, and I'm just showing you some new updates that we have in AutoBlend that will allow us to actually calibrate a screen without cameras and any sensors or anything like that. And it does a quick job. And there's nothing against cameras, but sometimes there's just a cockpit in the way, or there's an object in the way, and if the camera can't see the screen, it can't calibrate. So we've come up with a quick method to really do the job in very little time and to give us all the benefits that we get from a camera, but without one, of course. What I've got here is a 220-degree screen, so that's bad enough as itself. And you can see I've got light streaming in from the back, which would really upset a camera anyway. So I can go over here and I can see it's 220 degrees, and we have some top cover with the projectors, and they're HD projectors. I think I can probably pull this up here and show you where they are. There they are, they're all up the top there. They're the BenQ 1080 things, and we'll go down. And there's the Z. So I'm going to first blank the screen. Now what we've done in AutoBlend is we've told the two servers, because there's one server which is all the rendering thing with all the fancy graphic cards and stuff like that, and we're just using a small desktop computer to control the the control side. So you need a two computer type configuration. You put AutoBlend on both, so they're both connected via IP. And let's just go to the software, and we'll send a signal to say display view 1. So first of all, I'll blank the screens, and we'll send a signal to view 1. And on view 1, that's coming out for projector 3 because they're inverted. We've got a checkerboard pattern with column numbers in it. And what we've done is we've gone around this whole screen and we divided. I don't think you can really see there at the top, but I'll go to the side. You'll be able to see where the light is from the sun. So you can see that here there is some little circles put on the side of the screen. We divided that rows up to 6. We don't need much problems going on, so we just put 6. But in the actual circumference of the whole 220, we put actually 20. So we divided the screen in half and then divided again, and we've got to 20. But the projector number 3 on the first side here, basically we've told it how much the projector covers. So in the software we told it the projector's beam only covers 9 columns, and that's why you see a 9 in the side there. So that's why there's 9 is here. So all I have to do now is make sure that all my columns which are between these numbers match to my little dots that are put up on the screen. And to do that, that's on the controlling server. So on the controlling server I go up to my view and I select that I want to do just horizontals, and I can grab a point and move all of the horizontals, and you can see the bottom doesn't really move. Now I align this with my little dots, and I've obviously done some of this beforehand, so I don't have to do too much, but basically I'm just stretching things out to make sure they're all straight, which I just did there, and we move on to number 2. So now I just go to black that one out because I don't want to see that at the moment, and go to number 2 and move the camera here, and we see number 2. And now I've basically gone down to number 3 and so on. So I've done 3 like this. Now I need to send a signal from the controller to say show me all projectors, and I've done so. So you can see I've basically gone through here and just straightened them up. It was a very easy process. I can see that 9 is not correct because we've moved it around. There's a double line there just here, and so I need to get rid of that. So I'll go back to my edit mode, select my view, which is view 1. Tell it again I'm not doing anything more than just moving the horizontal. I can go into sub-column type definitions and really move everything if I want to, but why do you need to if you don't need to, right? So now I'm going to move that over a bit and make sure these fellas now looking nice, which isn't too tricky. And that looks about right. Of course, I'm sure you guys can see better than I am because I'm looking very tough over my monitor here. Okay, that looks better. And so we've done that. Now, we can see that between 7 and 9 and 12 and 14, there's a double brightness issue because that's where the projectors are actually overlapping. They normally have to go through the process of blending this all out. Well, we don't have to do that here. All I have to do now is to tell this to calibrate. And it says please wait, being very polite. And it's calibrating with a great algorithm to produce 1 amazing seamless view. Look at that. No blending, I didn't do any of that. I didn't do any of all the little points in between. All I told it was the columns and rows. There, it's done. Now, that's pretty good, but most games and stuff, the new ones anyway, like flight simulation and stuff and things like that, they have the benefit of having multiple virtual cameras inserted into the game. Now, normally you play a game with this wider view, which is 220 degrees. Really what happens is the first, 100 odd degrees look great, and then the rest of it's all stretched. And, cars come past you and they get really big and then they get really small. Irritating, right? So some people get over this by just throwing computers at it, and each computer does a portion of the view. But here we can actually tell it to calculate, and I'll just go over to the calculate button, and I'm telling it to calculate multiple views, and it just did that. That's given me some degree marks on the screen, which we can see, and I'm going to now view that as a 3D tunnel, and it's done a nice perfect job of producing non-stretched perfect view. Now really what happens in the program now is we export this, and it exports all the files for, Explain and FSX and Prepare 3D and any other programs that can use that kind of information. So I'll now go and just come out of the program on the master machine, and we import that now because PixelWarp can import all these mesh files from these camera calibration and mouse calibration systems. So we'll go over to PixelWarp. And you can see the image in front of us is how it's not working. It's not actually switched on at the moment. And you can see I've still got the overlaps, and it's still quirky because his mouth is off his chin and mouth are actually off the bottom of the screen there, which is not right. So now we'll switch on PixelWarp. We'll use an Evo here, and I'll import the pattern, which I think I've got it set to do automatically. So it's going to grab that pattern we just exported, and it's going through the process. Incidentally, other things on PixelWarp here is this is working in directly onto NVIDIA's graphics board. It's not capturing the DirectX and OpenGL in the normal way these programs do. It's actually directly injecting it into the world. Look at that. Don't do nothing. Let me just see if I can improve the brightness on my camera. There we go. And you can see it's imported beautifully. So I haven't done any blending. I haven't done all the bits in the between. All I've done is just say load the camera file, or load the AutoBlend file actually in. And we can go in there and do some sub-editing, and I can switch it on and off here, and you can see the NVIDIA button there is telling it that it's using the Quadro warping, because we've got a Quadro card in here, because this is a flight simulation product at the moment. And you can see that it's all perfect. Now if I wanted to do the flight simulation now, I could actually go in here and say load in, let's pull into display and load in the multi-view version, which is for the because it chucks out two. It chucks out the single view, single virtual view, or multi-view. So I'm going to tell it external calibration and pick the multi one and go. And I'll just recycle so it reloads the multi. Now this is going to be based on the angle of these projectors. It's going to generate a view which it has. Now you see it looks quite different, but it's kind of like three overlapped flats, if you like. And let's try it with Prepared 3D, or Prepare 3D, how you want to pronounce this. And you'll see it go through its process of doing all the scenery. This is the default setting, so I'm not going to put anything fancy on here, but all you flight enthusiasts, you'll know what this is doing. And we should have a perfect, there we go. Look at that. So now all of the stuff around the sides of me is not stretched, and neither is it over here. So we just have a perfect view. I don't really know how to use this program very much, but I do believe I have to put the mouse yoke on. Here we go, and press brakes and so on, and here we go. So we can give you a little flight here of perfect graphics. And up I go. I'll go up a little bit and pan around and see what we can see. This is not particularly a brilliant place for the views, but you can see that there's no real woohoo, Chris. Well, I've crashed it, but you can see that when I did that, there was no stretching graphics and so on. And I've created some sparks. Well, that's probably my normal type of driving, actually. So anyway, this is Chris from Pixelwix, and that's AutoBlend with Pixel Warp.